So, you know what? Every time I see J.K. Rowling trend on Twitter, I already know what it's about before I even click the headline. So, my little intro for her every time I do a video about her is J.K. Rowling pitching her trolling. Because that's exactly what I feel that she's doing right now. This woman has proven that she has kryptonite within her when it comes to her talking about a certain group of people. And she really doesn't care. Because you got to think, this woman has been in the industry for a long time now, as far as being an award-winning, world-renowned author. She got a foot in the door, of course, with the Harry Potter books and everything like that, and any subsequent books that came after that. And now she's doing a different type of narrative, in which has made people mad. Now, she has sparked controversy in the past because she's giving logical, honest critiques about the academy, specifically Hall T. Like, that's the clash right there that literally she always rubs people the wrong way with the stuff that she says. And mind you, the stuff that comes out of her mouth about Hall T is not even disrespectful. She's not saying or wishing ill will towards them. She's not wishing them any harm or worse or death or anything like that. She's not even telling them how to go and live their lives. But at the end of the day, she's telling them simply, you can choose to call yourselves this gender and that gender. But at the end of the day, biologically, this is who you are. What's wrong with that? And the thing is, they get so up in arms with her when she says something like that, that makes a lick of sense, that they immediately go after her and claim that she's being canceled. But before I actually get into what I'm going to talk about, I have to give a shout out to someone who follows me on Twitter. I don't know if they just started following me or if they've been following me. And I want to give you a quote that this person responded with when they retweeted what I had put out about her. But first, I'm going to say, this is what I said. J.K. Rowling done pissed off Hall T yet again with her new book. At this point, this woman is trolling them because she knows how to get under their skin. Now, the person who responded to me and retweeted it said, whose name is Second Gen J, because I wanted to give them I guess you could say, acknowledgement of what they said and put it out there that what I'm about to read is not my own words, because I give credit over here. They said, and I quote, "They are mad because she's already a hugely successful author and billionaire with a large loyal fan base and they can't cancel her." And then they put a crying, laughing emoji. And I have to agree. This woman's status is so huge that no matter how hard they try to quote unquote cancel her, they can't. Because they've been trying to cancel this woman for probably 2 years now. And she's managed to push through every single time they tried to cancel her, quote unquote. That's why cancel culture, a lot of people look at it as a joke. Because when you look at what cancel culture is, a lot of the times you're canceling because they said that or whatever. That's why you're canceling, because they may have spoken some truth. Now, if it's something outrageous and outlandish and everything like that, with the whole, Netflix thing and everything like that. Okay, I see where you're coming from with that one, with the whole cuties controversy. But you're trying to cancel this woman who pretty much already made all her bones and still is making some more. Like, you can try to cancel her, but at the end of the day, she's still going to be who she is, mindset wise and monetary wise. Now, I know that was a bit of an introduction. Y'all probably wondering, what are we talking about again today as it pertains to J.K. Rowling? Picture her trolling. Well, she has this new book that has sparked outrage from you-know-who yet again. And that's why we are here. And that's why I said I knew when I saw her trending who got mad. So she wrote this new book, and it's talking about a cross-dressing serial killer. Now, they are mad because the like I said in the title, like I just read, that the serial killer is a cross-dresser. We have seen that narrative a couple of times before. We saw it in Silence of the Lambs with the Buffalo Bill character, and we saw it in that movie Psycho with the Norman Bates character. And I'm sure there's probably some other ones, but those two stick to mind. And those, to this day, have been helmed up as horror classics, horror, psychological thriller, whatever you want to call it, classics. But when she decides to put it in her book, they get upset and they're mad, not so much because of the character probably per se, but because of who created the character. And that's why I said I think at this point this woman is just trolling them, because she knows that their quote unquote canceling of her is not going to work. She says they had plenty of opportunities to cancel her before, and she's managed to bounce back each and every single time. And I must say it makes me chuckle to see them like literally get up in arms every time this woman opens up her mouth, because it's like, oh my, it's almost like they're on pins and needles. They're kind of scared to see what's going to come out of her mouth, but they know what's coming. And then they be ready to come at her with pitchforks and all types of stuff. I will say this woman's troll levels are over 9,000. I will say that much. But let me go ahead and get into it. Harry Potter author J.K. Rowling has set off a wave of anger for including what many are calling a transphobic plotline into her new book. Penned under the pseudonym Robert Galbraith, Troubled Blood is Rowling's 5th book to feature private investigator Cormoran Strike. An early review of the book by Telegraph writer Jake Carriage described it as featuring a transvestite serial killer, which inspired readers' anger and spawned the Twitter hashtag #RIPJK Rowling, a tongue-in-cheek commentary on the author's career. I don't know how many times they've been saying that they some kind of hashtag about that of her with her career, but she's still here. The backlash comes on the heels of several accusations of transphobia in recent months against Rowling. A transgender activist said the new book appeared to take a deliberate swipe at the community. It's really sad to see this road J.K. Rowling appears to be on, said writer and trans advocate Ugla Stefania John Sodater, I can't pronounce that last name, who quit Rowling's literacy agency in June in protest at the writer's stance. It's one thing to have diverse characters, but when you write about a man dressing up as a woman in order to kill women, you are deliberately enforcing an awful trope about transgender people. Well, how about that? How about that? Like I said before, this and what she is writing is not new. We've seen stories and narratives where you had a man dress up as a woman, and probably vice versa, and went on a killing spree. What she's doing or what she's writing is not even an original, I guess you could say, thought on idea. Her story is her own version of it, but the idea of someone dressing up as another gender and then going on a killing spree is not new at all. I'm sure you can look in the news and find at least one story that fits that narrative, and the outrage, of course, was not there. But because it's her, they're mad. And remember, all this woman ever really said was something I and many others have said before, that you're either born a man or a woman. You can go out there and call yourself whatever you want, but that doesn't change the facts. Like the video I just recently did, someone pointed out something in that video that I didn't even notice there, and that was the one that had that Angelica Ross in there. They said, I didn't know if you know, but they had a banner there that said trans women are real women. I did not pick that up when I was watching the video. Maybe it's because the video was a very bright video. The banner was either pink or yellow, so I couldn't read it or wasn't paying attention. But somebody pointed that out there. That's the kind of stuff she talks about when people say trans women are real women. And she says, no, real women are real women. And if you are a trans woman, you were born a man that now lives as a woman. That's all she's saying that you have to say. But they get mad at her for saying that. They get mad when you say that. Because in their mind, in their psyche, when they went under the knife, apparently they must have did a lobotomy too. They must have switched out the brain that told them, oh, that you were a man, but now something must have happened, and now you believe yourself to be a woman. And real women like her find that offensive. I'm not even a woman, and I find that offensive. It's funny because it's usually the transitioning of a man to a woman, or the quote unquote trans woman, that always has the issue. And it's usually never the other way around, when you probably have a person who was born a woman who's transitioning into a man. You never really hear about those stories. Well, the only time it gets weird with them is when they say, oh my God, I'm a man and I'm pregnant. Then that's when it gets weird. That's when it gets weird. Admirers of the Harry Potter books were among those to express their anger. The hardest part of being a Harry Potter fan is J.K. Rowling herself once said on Twitter. Despite this, the backlash does not appear to have dented sales. And that right there is what they hate. They think that their hatred of her is going to hurt the sales, but it really doesn't. The various hardbook, audiobook, and Kindle versions of Troubled Blood all occupy the top 5 positions in Amazon's bestseller list on Tuesday. At this point, they might as well stop trolling her, because this isn't the first time that's happened. Every time they quote-unquote troll her with their rhetoric and their nonsense, something of hers ends up selling even more. So why bother? Y'all basically are helping this woman win. They think they actually have a win. And that goes back to the quote I read from one of my followers. They're trying to cancel her, but they can't. Rowling waded into trans rights debates in June when she published an initial tweet criticizing a headline that said, creating a more equal post-virus world for people who menstruate. People who menstruate, I'm sure there used to be a word for those people. Someone help me out. Woombin, Wimpund, Woomud. Rowling tweeted at the time. The writer, whose Harry Potter books or series has sold more than 500 million books, followed the tweet with a 3,600 word essay in which she disclosed she had been a victim of domestic abuse and sexual assault. Rowling's agent said the writer would not be commenting further, but while many in the trans community were outraged by what they saw as further transphobia from the world's wealthiest author, others have defended her. Robbie Coltrane, who played a recurring character in the Harry Potter film series, told a British magazine that people were waiting to be offended. I don't think what she said was offensive, really, the actor told Radio Times. Despite the film series' 3 main leads, Daniel Radcliffe, Emma Watson, and Rupert Grint, have publicly criticized Rowling's past remarks on the subject. Bev Jackson, a co-founder of the activist group LGBT Alliance, said many of the attacks which saw the hashtag RIPJK Rowling trending on Twitter amounted to misogyny. It was extraordinary that people have opinions about a book they haven't even read, she told Thomson Reuters Foundation on Tuesday. There are thousands of thrillers published every year. Many of them will feature people who dress up in disguises, and this is fiction. And that quote came from somebody who's an advocate for the Academy who said that. But I like what the actor said. He said there are people out there waiting to be offended. That is very potent yet so true. There are and this goes beyond her. There are people out there who are just waiting to be offended. Like they're just waiting for something to come down the pike so they can be mad about something just for the sake of being mad. Those kinds of people are miserable. The people that are mad at her for being honest and speaking truth and having some sense of logic in this world we live in, where it seems all logic and reality just gets tossed out the window. You know, it's the world we live in. I'm gonna just leave it at that. The world we live in today. But kudos again to her for, doing what it is that she's doing. I've already had some people told me, based on the tweet that I posted about this, that they said that they were going to go and buy her book. I don't know if I'm gonna go buy it, but I'm sure it's going to be an interesting read. But if I do, if I can find a link to it, I'll leave it down below. If it does bring and spark some curiosity there, go right on ahead. As a matter of fact, now that I look at this also reminds me of another movie. It wasn't a big movie, but it was a movie I saw years ago where you had a guy who dressed up like a woman and was going around killing people, and he would wear all black. It was kind of creepy, but it was the same narrative. So it's like they just need to get over themselves.